Scientists discover a new species lurking in the depths of the Southern Ocean.
The ocean's like this huge empty place until bam! Nature pops up with some wild stuff, or some brave diver goes poking around. Seriously, every time they take a dip, there's some new, mind-blowing thing waiting down there. Old as dirt bones, wrecked ships from way back when, weird finds, and some seriously gnarly sea monsters. So, let's jump in and tag along with these divers as they sort out all the crazy underwater secrets. Sunken bodies. Back on August 17, 2003, the Philippines woke up to some seriously bad vibes when two ferries smashed into each other just off the coast, and chaos broke loose. This video? It's the last sweep for the folks who never made it out from under those wrecked ships. Diving into that 8-year-old mess was tough on the heart, but the dive team was determined to bring up anyone left down there, giving families one last shot to say goodbye. Wrapping up this mission, they closed the book on a seriously rough chapter, the 8th year since that nightmare went down. And with that, there's a glimmer of hope that maybe, just maybe, they can cut down on these awful sea accidents, especially since the Philippines is kinda notorious for them. Malpeque crosses. These Malpeque crosses, lying deep underwater, tell a dark story from the past, standing as a tribute to missionaries who were tragically drowned near the Canary Islands. This goes back to the 15th century, when the Canary Islands were a big deal in trade. Lots of folks rushed there, hoping to get a piece of the action. Among them were 40 missionaries, who ended up on a ship hijacked by a Frenchman. He was after the ship and its cargo, but didn't care for the men on board, so he had them thrown overboard. Fast forward 200 years, and those missionaries were honored as martyrs. To remember them, Malpeque crosses were sunk right where the tragedy happened. Ghost Fleet. Diving into just one shipwreck is already a thrill, but imagine hitting the jackpot like these divers in the Truck Lagoon, aka the ship graveyard. It's not just one or two, but a whole bunch of sunken ships that have been lying there for ages. As much as it's a diver's dream, these wrecks are a grim reminder of what went down in 1945. That's when the US bombed a Japanese port, sending nearly 50 ships to the bottom of 18 meters deep water. And it's not just ships, they found hundreds of aircraft down there too. No wonder it's a magnet for scuba divers from around the globe, all eager to dive into the history and secrets buried beneath the waves. Feeding isopods. You'd think that taking out one shark might be enough to freak out the other deep-sea predators, but nope, this time they went after an alligator. I know, it sounds like I'm making a big deal out of these isopods, but they're seriously hardcore in the ocean. There was this incident where researchers sent down an alligator, specifically donated for this experiment, deep into the sea off the coast of Louisiana. And what's left after a day? Just a bunch of massive isopods crawling all over the carcass. These monster crustaceans can grow up to 1.5 meters. Sure, they look like they could take on a big mammal, but in reality, they're just nature's garbage disposals, feasting on dead sea life. It's not just gators and smaller critters that end up as deep-sea diner specials. Sometimes, even big mammals like whales take a one-way trip to the ocean floor, turning into a buffet for marine life. Like this one time, a deep-sea camera snagged footage of a whale carcass breaking down. The scene was wild, with all sorts of invertebrates and crustaceans crowding around the bones, munching on what must have seemed like a never-ending feast. Deep water skeleton. Ever wonder how the early Americans kicked it? Well, some brainy folks do, digging around old dirt and stuff. Then boom, they find this full-on human skeleton chilling underwater. A skull, some bones, and a tooth that they carbon dated, twice. Turns out it's a teen girl from like 12,000 years back. Guess she was goofing around in what was just a teeny hole back then, took a bad step, and snap, broke her pelvis. That little oops turned the hole into her forever spot, making today's cave her accidental grave. And no kidding, her bones are like a door back to the Stone Age. Diver versus deep sea fish. So you're diving, it's all dark and mysterious, and bam, you spot a grouper fish. Cool, right? But then, you go full-on daredevil and stick your hand right in this monster fish's mouth, like, who does that? Well, this one dude in Mexico, that's who. He's there, making friends with this huge grouper when, oops, he takes his eyes off the big guy for just a sec, and the fish makes a beeline for him. Quick thinking, and he's like, back off, buddy, and the grouper's gone. Then, out of nowhere, another one of these underwater beasts pulls up, looking like it wants to make the dude its lunch. But nah, the guy's not having it. He dodges in the nick of time and avoids becoming fish food. Close call. Swimming with whales. These huge whales made the diver next to them look like a minnow. They were just cruising by, each one heavier than a herd of 20 elephants. A single nudge from these behemoths could launch a dude flying through the water. But this gutsy guy, he stood just a whisper away from them. He calls it a once-in-a-lifetime thrill. These giants usually stick to the deep blue, like 500 meters down, and hardly ever pop up in the shallow end, except maybe for a snack. Unidentified creature. Man, did you see that thing caught on the deep sea cam? Gave everyone the heebie-jeebies, even had the pros scratching their heads. With those buggy eyes and that freaky color, it looked like nothing anyone's seen before. Everyone's asking, what the heck is that? It's just hanging out, not moving an inch in the whole video, way down past 1,000 meters. Is it just some dead critter falling apart? Or did we accidentally catch a glimpse of some mystery beast from the deep? Whales on seafloor. You know, being a massive ocean boss hauling around tons of weight and swimming non-stop's gotta be rough, right? So get this, these big ol' whales just wanna chill. They dive down to the seafloor for a little rub down on the sand. Sounds wild, huh? Check it out for yourself. Scientists slapped a camera on a whale and let it loose. And what they saw was next level. Whales having a blast, scooting around on the sand like it's spa day. Turns out, they're just scratching off dead skin and booting pesky parasites. Just another day in the life of a whale. Shark feeds. When you're 1,000 meters down where the sun's just a memory and grub's hard to come by, even a snack on a string looks good. So this brainy explorer tried to tempt a shark with a 7-gill snack tied up on a rope. But this shark's no dummy, it wasn't biting, at least not at first. Then, like it had a change of heart, it swung back and went to town on that tied-up treat. Just a regular day for the big fish. But for the researcher, total buffet of coolness. Oarfish encounter. Can you even picture what this beastie would be like down in the deep, where it's all murky and you can't see its creepy looks? There was this time a diver bumped into one of these oddball fish. Alright, enough with the scary talk. So this is the oarfish we're talking about. They hang out in the deep water, like 1,000 meters down, and they've got this rep as the spooky fish of the abyss. But then they pop up to the shallow bits, saying what's up to divers, and they're like, hey, we're not all that bad. Still, you gotta keep your eyes peeled, cause you never really know what they're plotting with those pointy brains of theirs, right? Giant squid. Caught on camera near a Japanese port, this humongous squid turned heads with its unexpected visit. Picture this, a 4-meter tall squid just casually cruising into the port, and a local fisherman spots it. So what's next? A diver jumps in, trying to help this big guy find its way back to the deep blue. But get this, the squid starts reaching out with its massive arms, even wrapping them around the diver at one point. Okay, it wasn't caught on film, but the diver said it was totally spine-tingling. Dolphin approaches diver. So there they were, these explorers, totally caught up watching rays chow down, and they kinda missed the dolphin hanging out nearby. But this dolphin wasn't giving up that easy. It kept getting closer and closer until the divers couldn't ignore it anymore. That's when they noticed something was off with its swim style. Turned out, a pesky fishing line was caught on its fin, messing up its moves. The diver got down to business, gently freeing the dolphin that had been struggling for who knows how long. But hey, it's not just us humans playing the hero. Like this one time, a diver was filming hammerheads and needed a breather in the shallows. Guess who followed? The shark. But just then, a squad of dolphins came to the rescue, nudging the shark away from the diver. Talk about a close call. Man among killer whales. This guy took the plunge of a lifetime, diving right into waters swarming with orcas. Off the coast of Crozet Island near Antarctica, he was originally filming sea lions when he decided to go deeper and say hello to the orcas. He swam past this underwater forest, which is pretty much a no-go zone for orcas. They can get trapped in there. But past the trees, there was this massive orca, just hanging out close to the diver. Then, he caught this epic scene, penguins swimming around, totally clueless. The orcas stayed quiet at first, not wanting to tip off their dinner. But then the matriarch, the boss of the pod, gave the go-ahead, and the hunt was on. And we all know how that usually goes down, right? Sperm whale rescue. This guy was off the coast of Mauritius with a mission. Dive deep and free this huge sperm whale tangled in a fishing rope. One end was wrapped around its jaw, the other stuck to the seafloor, leaving the whale barely able to move and starving. It was practically knocking on death's door when he decided to step in, taking on the dicey job of cutting the rope and saving the whale. Humpback breaches close to diver. So there's this diver, right? And out of nowhere, this whale shark pops up, mouth wide open, showing off its huge size and totally freaks the guy out. It all happened in shallow water, which is nuts, because these big fellas usually hang out way down deep, like over 1,000 meters in the dark. Spotting one up close like that is both super awesome and a bit scary for anyone watching. And get this, the whale shark wasn't done surprising folks. Next thing you know, it's giving birth right there a few inches from an explorer. Just the baby shark's tail was visible, but that was enough to leave the divers totally mesmerized. Titanic present position. Being a ship that sank deep in the ocean almost more than a century ago, Titanic still boggles the people's minds, as there have been many expeditions for a glimpse of the present condition of the boat, with this one being the latest one that was filmed only 3 months back in the depths of the North Atlantic Ocean. The boat present in the ocean floor, all covered in reefs and other bacterias, bring back the heartbreaking memories of the year 1912. But the thing which shocked even the researchers were these tiny leather shoes that were the only thing which remained of the people, and were only saved due to the tannin layer which resisted the bacteria from spreading into the shoe. Thus recovering it from the depth of the ocean, the shoes were placed in the Canadian Museum for further research. Depths of Bermuda. Surrounded by all sorts of myths, spooky tales, and eerie happenings linked to its depths, these brave explorers are set to face the risks head-on and dive into the waters. Even with all the wild stories, Bermuda's waters are undeniably a haven for mysterious sea creatures we've yet to uncover. Divers encountered these amazing creatures just a few meters down, and there on the ocean floor were shipwrecks. These wrecks stir up all sorts of conspiracy theories. However, scientists say they're just due to nasty weather and mistakes in navigating the ships. Is it just science fiction, or is there really a hidden mystery under the water? That's something nobody really knows for sure. Shark with fishing hook. In the deep sea, where divers and marine creatures often cross paths, some meetings turn out to be unforgettable. That's exactly what happened in the Norwegian waters, where a team of divers bumped into a shark that looked a bit off. It was only when the shark swam closer that the diver realized the animal's sad plight. The poor shark had a fishing hook embedded in its head, complete with a line trailing out, bits of flesh still clinging to it. And that wasn't the end of its troubles. The shark's wrinkled skin was a clear sign it hadn't been eating well. Using whatever tools they had at hand, the divers managed to remove the fishing hook and release the shark back into the ocean. Submarine under attack. Out in the shark was finally caught on camera, feasting on the whale carcass. Human bones. Deep in an underwater cave, just 8 meters down, divers stumbled upon some ancient human bones in a Mexican cave that got flooded around 8,000 years ago. They sure didn't expect to find that. There were all sorts of guesses about these bones. Some thought they were from modern times, maybe put there to draw a crowd. But archaeologists were convinced these were the real deal, from a guy who lived 8,000 years back, and they were right. Then, over in Greece, people were blown away by a 2000-year-old shipwreck. Inside, there was a skeleton in amazing condition. Most times, the sea creatures take care of any human remains, but this find was something else. The bones still had DNA, giving scientists a chance to unlock some long-lost secrets. Let's talk about the thumbnail of this video. Malaysian Flight 370's disappearance is a deep mystery. One theory is that a catastrophic failure or deliberate action led it to the ocean's depths. It could have been a mechanical fault causing it to drift and fall after running out of fuel. Alternatively, a more sinister theory suggests human intervention, like hijacking or pilot suicide, with someone intentionally diverting and flying the plane until it crashed into the ocean. The vast, deep Indian Ocean and lack of solid evidence have made finding the wreckage extremely difficult, leaving the plane's fate largely unknown. What do you think of the theory and the image on the screen? Let us know in the comments. Sharks living in volcano. So these explorers dropped an underwater camera into the toasty waters around Solomon Island, right near this active volcano called Cavachi. They weren't really expecting to see much, but guess what they found right off the bat? Yep, you nailed it, marine life. These creatures were chilling 20 meters down in super hot water that could totally burn human skin, but it seemed like no big deal for the rays and hammerheads cruising around down there. The researchers were pretty stunned at first, but after digging into it, they found out that these sharks are actually cool with the acidic conditions from the volcano. Doesn't bother them one bit. Thanks a ton for checking out the video. If you liked it, go ahead and share it with your buddies. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and smack that bell icon so you won't miss out on any of our awesome upcoming videos. Thanks again.